It all starts on a regular night at Privet Drive when Professor Dumbledore arrives. He pulls out a device known as the Deluminator and turns off all the street lights. Then, a cat nearby changes into a woman, Professor McGonagall, and she starts talking with Dumbledore about what's been going on. Suddenly there is a bright light, and a motorbike appears from the sky, ridden by a huge man called Hagrid. He is holding a small baby, and he hands him over to Dumbledore. Hagrid looks on with tears in his eyes as Dumbledore places the baby on the doorstep of a house. He also places a letter on top. Fast forward a bit, and we see Harry, now a boy, living in a cramped space under some stairs at his Aunt Petunia and Uncle Vernon's house. He's getting up to make breakfast while Uncle Vernon rushes him. They've got a day planned at the zoo because it's Dudley's birthday. At the zoo, Dudley's not impressed with the snakes, but Harry finds out he can actually talk to them. One snake tells him he's never seen his home. Just then, Dudley pushes Harry aside, and somehow the glass of the snake's cage disappears. Dudley ends up falling into the cage, and the snake takes the chance to escape, saying thanks to Harry on the way out. As Dudley tries to get out of the tank, he realizes the glass is back and he is trapped inside. When they all get back home, Uncle Vernon is furious. He blames Harry for the day's mess and locks him in a little cupboard as punishment. The following morning, Harry goes to pick up the post and notices one with his name on it. As Uncle Vernon looks at it, he gives his wife a weird look. The owls start showing up a lot around their neighborhood, as Uncle Vernon notices while leaving for work. He tries to get rid of the mail by burning them, and on Sunday, he's actually happy thinking it's a day without mail. But then, letters start flying out of the fireplace like crazy. As Harry jumps to collect one, he is tackled by his uncle. The family watches in horror. After the letter chaos, Harry and the Dursleys head to a remote shack to hide from all the mail. On Harry's birthday, he's just drawing a cake in the dirt when the whole place shakes with a loud knock. The door flies off its hinges because Hagrid has come to visit. Uncle Vernon tries to stop him with a gun, but Hagrid's not having it and bends the gun like it's made of rubber. Hagrid is finally face to face with Harry and gives him a homemade birthday cake with pink and green icing. He pulls out his wand and shoots 2 flames into the fireplace, which shocks Harry. Harry asks Hagrid who he is, and tells him the story about the magical school of Hogwarts, which was on the letters as he hands Harry one of them. Vernon complains that he will not allow Harry being sent to any school, and his aunt says how her sister also went to the crazy magical school. Uncle Vernon disrespects Dumbledore in front of Hagrid, who in anger, ends up giving a pigtail to Dudley using magic. He asks Harry not to mention that to anyone. He checks the time and asks Harry to leave with him if he wants to. They go to London to get Harry supplies for school. They reach a pub, where everyone is shocked to see Harry Potter amongst them. They all come to meet him, as Harry also meets Professor Quirrell, who teaches defense against dark arts at Hogwarts. They move to an entryway, where Hagrid taps a few bricks with his wand, which opens up a door to Diagon Alley, the famous wizard market. As they move through, Harry notices all kinds of magical things, including owls and flying brooms. He is mesmerized to see the Nimbus 2000. They reach Gringotts, the wizard bank, which is run by goblins. As they walk up to one, Hagrid gives him a key and also mentions another vault for some secret Hogwarts work. A goblin takes them to the vault, where Harry is shocked to see the amount of gold his parents left him. Finally, they reach the vault Hagrid requested, which when opened has a tiny package only. They get back to the market, where Harry goes into Ollivander's to get a magic wand. As he walks in, he is greeted by Ollivander himself, who recognizes him and starts looking for a suitable wand. As they go through the process, Harry goes through a lot of wands until Ollivander brings a wand which shares a core with another wand, the wizard who killed Harry's parents and gave him the scar. The wand fits perfectly for Harry. As he decides to leave, he sees Hagrid outside holding a white owl, Hedwig, who he had bought as a gift for Harry. Harry and Hagrid have a meal, where Harry asks him about the night his parents died, and about Voldemort. Hagrid told him how Voldemort killed his parents first before trying to kill him, but being unable to do so, only left a scar in the process, and vanished after that. However, Hagrid thinks he is still around, only waiting his time. Finally, as the day comes for Harry to leave for Hogwarts, Hagrid hands him his ticket for train 9 3/4. However, Harry realizes there isn't a platform at King Cross called that. Suddenly, he notices another family mention Hogwarts, and he asks for help from the lady, called Molly Weasley. She has her daughter Ginny next to her. They explain to Harry how to get onto the platform, and he is able to finally get on the train to Hogwarts. On the train, Ron Weasley decides to sit with Harry, and asks him if he really is Harry Potter. They end up buying a lot of food from the food trolley, as Ron explains to Harry all the different types of chocolate, including the chocolate frog. Then Ron tries to do magic, when Hermione walks in. She tells Ron that the spell does not seem real, as she had studied most of her books through the holidays. She fixes Harry's glasses with magic, and leaves. They reach Hogwarts, where they are met by Hagrid. They get into boats that take them towards the castle, which looks magically beautiful in the night. As they go up the stairs, Professor McGonagall greets them and tells them about the sorting ceremony. She notices Neville, who picks up his lost toad. Another fellow student, Draco, comes to talk to Harry, and tries to be his friend, but Harry denies and sides with Ron. The door to the Great Hall opens and the students walk in. The Great Hall has a huge ceiling lit with candles. On the stage, there is a stool with a hat on top. Professor Filch, the caretaker, looks about with his pet cat Mrs. Norris. The students wait to get sorted anxiously, as Hermione recites her textbooks. The hat puts her in Gryffindor. Draco ends up in Slytherin, which Ron tells Harry is the evil house. As Ron goes to get sorted, the hat realizes it is another Weasley, and puts him in Gryffindor with the rest of his siblings. As Harry puts on the hat takes time to think what house to put him in. Harry requests not to be put in Slytherin, which the hat obliges to and puts him in Gryffindor, where he is greeted excitedly by his housemates. Dumbledore finally gets up to give his speech before the feast begins. Suddenly, the ghosts of the castle start to appear, while the Gryffindor ghost, nearly headless Nick, shows his famous trick to everyone. Finally, they all start to walk to their dormitories, led by the prefects. The Gryffindors reach a portrait of a fat lady, who requests a password to enter. As they enter the common room, they get to their rooms and prepare to sleep. Harry spends time with his owl Hedwig. The following day, Harry and Ron are running to get to class, and they are scolded by McGonagall for being late. In potions, Professor Snape lectures the class, but as Harry is not paying attention, he is asked questions by Professor Snape which he is unable to answer. Hermione knows all the answers, but the professor refuses to ask her. In morning, everyone witnesses post as the owls come in, and Neville gets a remembrall from his granny. Harry, Ron and Hermione discuss the news in the Daily Prophet. They have a Quidditch class, where Harry is easily able to get his broom up, but Hermione struggles. Neville ends up flying off without doing it on his own, and is unable to control the broom. As Madame Hooch tries to give him instructions, he falls from a good height, and is taken away by the professor to medical room. Draco finds Neville's remembrall, and Harry asks him to give it back. Draco challenges Harry to come get it as he flies off, but Harry follows him. Draco throws the remembrall away in the air, but Harry flies excellently and catches it, as the students cheer him on. The professor sees this, and asks Harry to follow him. She takes him to a classroom, where she asks for a student. This student is Wood, the captain of Gryffindor Quidditch team. The professor excitedly tells him that she has found him a new seeker. As the Gryffindors walk together, Harry tells everyone the whole story. The three get lost as one of the stairs lead them to the wrong corridor. At the end, they notice a door, which is seemingly locked. To escape Filch, Hermione opens the door and they get inside, only to find out a huge three-headed dog. They run in terror, and discuss that the dog was standing on a trapdoor and is probably hiding something. Afterwards, Harry and Wood carry a box which holds the balls used to play Quidditch. Wood explains the rules to Harry, and shows him how each ball functions. He then brings out the golden snitch, which would be Harry's duty to catch in a match to make it end. After, everyone attends Charms class, where Professor Flitwick teaches them how to make things fly. Hermione corrects Ron on his spell, and shows him how it is done correctly, which makes him furious. Seamus ends up setting his feather on fire. As they walk away, Ron mocks Hermione, which she ends up hearing. At dinner, it is the Halloween, and they realize Hermione is missing. Suddenly, Quirrell walks in and shouts about a troll before passing out. There is panic, which is controlled by Dumbledore, who instructs teachers and prefects to take control. Harry and Ron realize that they need to find Hermione since she does not know about the troll when they see it. They run away from it, and try to distract it away from Hermione. The troll picks up Rary, and to save him, Ron floats the troll's bat and hits him in the head with it, knocking him out. The professors show up and Hermione takes all the blame. They notice that Snape's leg is bleeding, assuming the giant dog did it. McGonagall gets mad at Hermione but glad that the boys saved her life. Snape limps away, which is noticed by the three. Hermione is now their friend, as they discuss what could the dog be hiding. The post comes in, and drops a broom in front of Harry. As they open it, they realize it is the Nimbus 2000, the fastest broom. Harry looks over to notice McGonagall and realizes it's a gift from her. The Gryffindor team prepare to go into the game against Slytherins, and fly out into the field. The whole crowd watches on, as the two teams prepare to clash. Harry is flying high trying to look for the snitch, as the game begins and the balls are released by Madame Hooch. She tosses the quaffle, which is collected by the Gryffindor team and converted into a goal, which is cheered on loudly. Wood makes a spectacular save, and both teams score against each other. The Slytherins play dirty and take out Wood, leaving Gryffindors with no goalkeeper. Harry watches on, as the Slytherins take out the rest of this team and score on them without anyone stopping. Suddenly he is unable to stay on his broom, and starts to lose control, nearly hanging on it for dear life. In the crowd, Ron watches in horror. Hermione thinks that Professor Snape is cursing Harry, and to cause a distraction, sets his robe on fire. Harry gets back on his broom and notices the snitch, before fighting with the other seeker to capture it. He nearly swallows the snitch trying to get it, but is able to in the end, leading to Gryffindor winning. Everyone cheers on Harry, as he holds the snitch out for everyone to see. As the trio walks with Hagrid, they ask him about the package. He realizes he accidentally says too much. As the snow falls during Christmas time, students are seen leaving for the holidays. The three are sitting in the Great Hall, playing wizard chess, and Hermione leaves. Harry wakes up on Christmas morning with a lot of gifts, as Ron shows him his jumper that he got from his mom. Harry reads a card for a gift, which ends up being his dad's invisibility cloak. As he puts it on, to Ron's surprise he completely disappears, only leaving his head visible. He decides to put it on in the evening and go to the library, holding a lantern. As he walks in, he scans the books for any clues on Nicholas Flamel. He picks up a book from the restricted section, and as he opens it, it starts screaming. He immediately puts the cloak back on as Filch shows up holding a lantern along with Mrs. Norris. Harry walks around and sees Snape talking to Quirrell, and he puts his hand out as Harry walks close by. Filch reports to Snape about what happened in the library, as Harry ends up hiding in a room. As he walks in, he notices a huge mirror in the room, called the Mirror of the Ariste. He looks into it, and sees his mom and dad stare back at him. His mom smiles at him assuringly, as he just looks back at them for hours. In the morning, he tells about his finding to Ron, and takes him along with him in the evening to show him his parents. However, when Ron stares into the mirror, he sees himself as head boy who has won the school cup. Harry spends a long time with the mirror, staring in it for hours, when Dumbledore suddenly appears and talks to him about what he sees in the mirror, and what the mirror really does. He tells him how people almost go mad looking into the mirror, and he will be changing the location of the mirror from the following day, which will not be known to anyone. He requests Harry to not go looking for the mirror anymore. As the winter goes, Harry is seen spending time with his pet owl Hedwig. Hermione comes back from her vacation with a clue about Nicholas Flamel, and shares it with the other two. It is about how Nicholas invented the Sorcerer's Stone which makes one invincible. They go to Hagrid to talk to him, who tells them to stop looking into it. They notice that Hagrid is tending to an egg, which Ron excitedly says is a dragon egg. As they look on, the egg starts to hatch and a dragon appears, which is named Norbert by Hagrid. Norbert nearly burns Hagrid's beard off, as the three look in horror. They make a plan to give Norbert away, but are caught by McGonagall who was tipped by Draco about the three. They are all given detentions as a punishment, and have to go into the Forbidden Forest with Hagrid to look for a wounded unicorn, since Hagrid noticed blood around. Draco complains saying his father won't be happy, but has to do the detention anyway. As they go into the forest, they break into groups, with Harry and Draco going together. As they walk into the forest with the dog, they come across a clearing where they see a figure trying to drink blood out of dead unicorn. Harry's scar starts to hurt as figure approaches him, but he is saved by a friendly centaur. The centaur warns Harry to stay away from the forest at this time since it is very dangerous given the circumstances. Hagrid shows up, and the centaur decides to leave. As the three get back to the castle, they discuss what they need to do next, and decide to go get the stone themselves before Snape or Voldemort are able to reach it. The following day, the three are walking outside the castle to get to class, when they notice Hagrid holding a flute. They ask Hagrid how to calm the dog, and he accidentally gives it away. The three are confronted by Snape, who asks them what they are up to, and tells them to mind their business or he would take more points from their house. The three plan on getting the stone, but are stopped by Neville. Are they prepared to leave? Hermione curses Neville, turning him into a plank, and they leave the common room. They reach the door on the third floor, and find the three-headed dog sleeping. Harry pushes his massive paw off the trapdoor. As they look about, suddenly the dog wakes up. They all jump into the trapdoor, and land on green vine-like plant that starts wrapping itself around them. As they struggle to move and breath, Hermione suddenly remembers how to counter it, and is able to conjure a fire to save Ron as he is about to be suffocated by the vine. He thanks Hermione, and they move to the next task. They enter a room which has a broom in the middle. They notice a lot of keys flying in the air, and understand that they have to grab the right key to the door. Harry gets on the broom and grabs the key, before unlocking the door successfully. As they go through, all the birds attack them but fail to do so. They enter a room full of real-sized chess pieces. Wizard chess being Ron's skill, he decides to guide everyone to play the chess so they can get across the room. He ends up playing it in such a way that he has to sacrifice himself in the end so that Hermione and Harry can go through. He guides the pieces correctly and they end up winning the game, allowing Harry and Hermione to get through. After another room of potions where Hermione is left behind, Harry ends up in a chamber. His scar starts to hurt as he notices Professor Quirrell. Quirrell looks into the mirror on the order of the Dark Lord, who then asks him to get Harry to look into the mirror. As Harry looks, he sees himself hold the stone and put it in his pocket in the mirror. Quirrell asks him about but Harry lies, which is pointed out by the Dark Lord. Quirrell starts taking off his turban and turns out, bringing out Voldemort, who speaks to Harry. He tells Quirrell that Harry lied, and he has the stone in his pocket. Harry pulls out the stone from his pocket, and is rushed by Quirrell, who gets burned as soon as he touches Harry. Harry, realizing this, puts his hands all over Quirrell's face, making him scream in pain and turn into ash. As Harry picks up the stone from the ground, he sees Voldemort and passes out. He wakes up in the medical room, as Dumbledore walks in. Dumbledore explains how Harry did something really brave and Dumbledore had to come in at the end to save him, and how the stone is destroyed. When Harry questions about Nicholas Flamel, Dumbledore tells him that he is ready to die and does not need the stone anymore. Finally, Madame Pomfrey walks in as Dumbledore tried a candy, but realizes it's earwax flavored. The trio meet up for the feast, and Dumbledore tells the whole school about Harry's bravery and what happened. For this, he awards Gryffindor extra points, specifically for Neville for his bravery, Ron for his chess skills, and Hermione for her potion skills, making them the winners of the House Cup. Finally, everyone is leaving for the year end, as Hagrid gives Harry a gift, which is an album of his parents' photos. He thanks Hagrid, who asks him to let him know if Dursleys give him a hard time again. Finally, everyone leaves for home.